Here it is. This is what the pyramids are made of. This is not granite. In fact, it's not even natural stone. And the outside it was smeared with a layer of more qualitative composition. But this layer was different from the inside layer. And its skin is peeling off. Let's see what's inside the skin. There it is, sand. This is not granite. This is sand coated with a hard crust and soft interior compound. It's a natural type of cement. It's nothing special. There's no engineering marvel here. It's just a big, huge anthropological hoax. See, these photos are taken in the 1800s, the mid to late 1800s. Here we see a hot-rolled structural steel C-beam sticking out of this so-called 2,000, 3,000-year-old Egyptian structure. Don't you think it's kind of a coincidence that these ancient megalithic, mysterious structures like Stonehenge, the Egyptian pyramids, all these supposed ancient sites are completely miles and miles away from civilization? And Egypt, in particular, is not only miles away from civilization, but it's in the middle of the fucking desert. There's a joke Sam Kinison says about people that are starving out in deserts. He says, you don't give these people food. You give them U-Haul trucks and move them out of there. Why? Because nothing fucking grows in the desert. So you gotta say to these people, hey, look, come here, let me show you something. You see this? Yeah, look, all around, it's fucking sand. You know what it's gonna be in 1,000 years? Fucking sand. Stonehenge is another one, miles and miles away from any civilization. You know, here in America, we have a city that is in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert, where gambling and prostitution are legal. It's known as Sin City, out in the middle of nowhere so nobody can see what you're doing. It's basically the same shit going on here in these two spots, especially in Egypt. Egypt is a circus and a tourist attraction, that's all it is. You know how much money goes through that place? Not just in tourism, but all the money they put in just to maintain the structures from collapsing in on themselves and crumbling like an Entenmann's coffee or crumb cake. It's constantly under construction. You can see clearly the big, giant pyramid we're always being told is such a miraculous technological feat made of stone that is carved and cut with unknown technologies and all this garbage we're being told about it, just letting it hypnotize us. But just take a look at it for yourself, and you can tell there is another pyramid underneath it, and something else was built on top of it, over it, because it's starting to crumble inside. You can see it's starting to fall in on itself. If all the workers who maintain and build in Egypt stopped, everything there within 50 to 100 years would be gone, turned to dust without no evidence of its existence. Look, here's Stonehenge being built within the last 100 years. Yep, that's right. 2,000 years ago, they had black and white cameras, ladies and gentlemen. How do we know it's thousands of years old? Right, because radiocarbon-14 dating says that it's thousands of years old, no matter how old the damn rock is. Because that's all radiocarbon-14 dating can do, is give us dates of hundreds of thousands and millions of years old, no matter how young the rock is. But carbon-14 dating doesn't matter to people. What matters is the opinion of so-called scientists that say it's accurate and can be trusted. At the same time, they would look with their own eyes and see photographs and much more evidence for the contrary, and most of them would fight tooth and nail and claim the photos and videos to be a hoax before they would ever claim any aspect of their scientism religion to be a fraud, hoax, or inaccurate. This is the Wild West snake oil salesman freak show. The 1800s was flooded with hoaxes, forgeries, using chemical cooking in order to make scientific findings appear to be older than they were. This is the birth of science becoming business. The scientific hypocrisy still plagues almost all of the truth communities and researchers who believe, on one hand, that carbon dating isn't an accurate method for dating fossils. So they don't believe carbon dating can give an accurate reading, they think it's false. So they don't think it's 2,000 years old or 1500 BC the pyramids were made. But some of them actually believe they're much older, like 10,000 or 50,000 years. I shit you not, I actually had a researcher tell me that when I asked him that question. We were talking about radiocarbon-14 dating, and he said, absolutely, I know, it's a false scientific method, it doesn't work. Then I asked him how old he thought the pyramids were. He said 10 to 50,000 years. And I asked him what made him believe this. He said, that's what the ancient wisdom keepers say. So he pretty much told me that he believes it in a scientific manner because ancient wisdom keepers said so, or people with the title ancient wisdom keepers. And that was all she wrote. Case closed. That was all he needed. If you have the title ancient wisdom keeper, that's pretty badass. Not only is it badass, but it actually makes sense because if you weren't a keeper of ancient wisdom, why would you give yourself that name or say that's what you do? I mean, why would anybody want to do that? Doesn't make sense. So obviously, they're ancient wisdom keepers, and there's no need to question anything that comes out of their mouth. But then again, on the other hand, it wouldn't be very scientific of us to just blindly accept what awesome, cool guys tell us. That would be more along the lines of a cult and religion to just blindly accept what somebody says. And why would we do that anyway when we don't have to? We all have the capability of being rational and logical. And I think it's a real good idea if we do, because this way we don't become over-emotional and completely lose sight of what it is we're exactly saying here. And I realized when my friend told me that he believes the pyramids are much older than that of the atheists and carbon daters even suggest. Well, that says to me it's a psychological issue, and he's very emotionally invested in his position. He's very touchy and sensitive about it, because it gives him this false sense of pride and power, and a false sense of being, thinking he is something that he is not, and that he is rightfully justified in his position, because he has somehow earned it, and therefore does not deserve it being taken away from him. This is the real Egypt. These are photographs taken from the 1800s when anthropology, photography, Charles Darwin, and all this supposed science that little do people know today was driven and manipulated not by the desire to find truth, but a desire to sell people a lie, spun as truth, just like all the other snake oil salesman bullshit artists that the 1800 Wild West gave birth to. Circus, sideshow, hoaxes in order to get people to come one, come all, get your ticket, come see the beast man, bearded lady, the reptile man, the caveman Neanderthal, which we still have in use today, but are a lot cleaned up and look much more presentable. They're the sideshow circus, known as museums, where people can go there to be entertained and brainwashed and convinced whatever is profitable, and particularly at this time in the 1800s, with the birth of the Industrial Revolution, new technologies developed, lots of awe and wonder, not a lot of authority yet established to monitor the West. People from all over the world want to come to America and get hypnotized by the romanticized America, the land of the free, where nobody can tell you what to do, you do whatever the hell you want. So here we have Charles Darwin, anthropology, photography, and the Industrial Revolution, which made building materials much more accessible. And here, so it begins. Take a look at these photographs in the late 1800s. Look, here's the evidence staring at you right in the face. When these pyramids were built, you can see the metal inside these supposed unknown advanced method of cutting stones and quarries in big, huge single blocks weighing millions of tons without proper cranes we even have today that could lift them. Well, here's the cranes, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, if you believe that they're millions of tons, we can't lift them by crane. But here they are as a picture of this bullshit being put together like Legos. But why would you believe that? I mean, everybody knows the pyramids were built in 1500, 1000 BC, whatever. Everybody knows that to be a fact because that's all they tell us in school and college. We're like fucking parrots. Pyramids built 1500 BC. Repeat after me, class. Good job, everyone. Now here's a cracker. What's even more hilarious is when people are talking about how the ancient pyramids were some ancient technological device that we don't know nor can use today because they somehow used magnetic gravitational levitation devices to build it. And then inside the pyramid, there are these tiny little sarcophagus rooms for, people going in there because it's really important to mope around in the Egyptian pyramid. I mean, they had to be doing something in there. The hieroglyphic stories are written all over the walls. There's no way we can build a pyramid like this today. Oh yeah, how about the Luxor pyramid in fucking Las Vegas, where the whole damn thing is made of glass, with a light on top shining, and hotels inside where thousands of people can get into it. Now you're telling me that the Luxor is some kind of inferior technology to the Egyptian pyramid? I've been to the Luxor. It's beautiful, it's comfortable, there's air conditioning. It's huge, it's a marvel of engineering. The Egyptian pyramid was built 100 years ago. It's a complete fucking hoax and is a travesty and cancer in the human mind today, being constantly fed and told over and over again how old those fucking pyramids are. Eventually somebody's got to take a look around and say, everybody keeps saying these pyramids are thousands of years old. Is it me, or is almost every single person a fucking idiot? They can't see this thing is built on fucking sand, and it proves how stupid people are. Whatever you tell them, they'll just believe. I'll buy whatever you're selling as long as it's guaranteed. How do you know you didn't buy a guaranteed piece of shit? If you want me to take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed, I'll do it. I got spare time. But for your sake, mine, and humanity's, you might want to consider actually using your fucking brain.